In 2012, CD Projekt Red announced a new IP of Cyberpunk 2077. In 2013, we saw the first teaser trailer for Cyberpunk 2077, and then it was quiet. Too quiet for 6 years.
How's it going?
Then in 2019, Keanu Reeves is revealed as Johnny Silverhand for Cyberpunk 2077. Then, after delay after delay after delay, in December of 2020, Cyberpunk finally arrived.
So you see, that's where the trouble began.
It all started in a fucking landfill.
It's no secret that Cyberpunk was long awaited and highly anticipated, and while it made headlines, it just wasn't the headlines that CD Projekt Red was hoping for. Instead of the glorious release, which would be praised by the masses, it was crucified and even removed from platform stores as it was impossible to guarantee a stable product. I personally bought the product on launch and was playing this on my Xbox Series X, and while I did encounter issues, it wasn't enough for me to put the game down and demand a refund. I was still fully entrenched and mystified by the story, and I needed to know how the game panned out. I distinctly remember finishing the game for the first time and just sitting there in pure awe at how fantastic this story was and how much content within the game was on offer. And I just remembered thinking it was such a shame that a story this spectacular would be missed by so many due to the issues that had plagued the game. Not to mention having your own Keanu Reeves to interact with, which is such a far cry from the type of person he is in real life. Even still, if Keanu Reeves doesn't make you weak at the knees, are you even human? Seriously.
You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
After all of this though, I put Cyberpunk down and walked away from the game, really impressed and blown away by the story. But with other game publishing companies walking away from failed IP, I didn't expect to see any type of resurgence to Cyberpunk, and sadly, I honestly expected it to be left to die.
No blaze of glory for me.
Then comes August in 2022, and as I'm scrolling for something to watch, I stumble across Cyberpunk 2077 Edgerunners on Netflix, which instantly had me engaged, and I binged the entire season in a day. And it wasn't just because Giancarlo Esposito was in it, I was genuinely excited to see another way to experience the majesty of Night City. When I was done, I had to return to the game, and at this point, I had just built myself a brand new computer, and it just so happened that Cyberpunk 2077 was on sale.
High time I chromed the fuck up.
So back in we go, and to my surprise, the game was relatively issue-free, and I could tell there had been some major graphical improvements, which really took me by surprise. This isn't the Night City that I experienced at launch. This is so much more vibrant and engaging. And that's when it hit me that I haven't been paying attention at all. I finished the game and walked away, while all this time behind the scenes, CDPR have been hammering away and taking what I dare say is possibly one of modern gaming's worst launches, and have been hard at work reviving Cyberpunk into the experience that was promised. Clearly everyone at CDPR has been chipping in. Now, I don't know about you, but after watching Edgerunners, I was obsessed with all things Sandevistan, and I had to know.
Who are you?
Is it possible to learn this power?
After a bit of trial and error, I had it, and I felt like I could take anyone and anything on in Night City, and sure enough I could. I even managed to make real short work of one Atom Smasher, which was a much harder fight the first time I played the game. Now we have 2.0 and the Phantom Liberty, and I felt like I owed it to CDPR and myself to start the game fresh, to experience 2.0 and the Phantom Liberty. And to top it off, I am determined to walk the path of the Netrunner, to experience combat from a totally different angle from my previous playthroughs. Diving back into Cyberpunk with 2.0, I didn't think it was possible, but with the help of Nvidia DLSS 3.5, the graphics and visual feast for the eyes had been dialed up to 11. Now I'm noticing the steam vents out of the ground, and the buildings, the grim dark areas highlighted which are barely lit by far off neon lights, the streaming silhouettes of giant advertising holograms streaming out of Night City and into the sky. It's just jaw-droppingly GAWRGEOUS gorgeous. Night City is now coming to life, with gangs attacking each other in the streets, meaning it is 100% possible for you to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and end up in one hell of a firefight. Not even the roads are safe, where rival cars will speed past you in broad daylight, opening fire on one another. Now that doesn't mean that you're defenseless, as I found out. If you're running a cyber deck, you have resources available to you. You can hack cars and slam their brakes on, or digitally push the pedal to the metal and send the driver on an uncontrolled joyride, which personally I take great satisfaction in doing when some of these NPC drivers mow you down out of nowhere. Be careful though, as the cops in Night City are nowhere near as placid as they were before, and will actively hunt and give chase. Push them hard enough and they will call in Max Tac to put you down. Even Johnny Silverhand has gotten a graphical update from pre-2.0 to post-2.0. You can visually see the difference in character models and attention to detail, and it only adds to the already immersive experience that Cyberpunk 2077 is now delivering. Having a look through the menu, the map has been altered slightly. Now it's no longer different shades of red with a really low-toned blue. It's got more of a highlighted blue, indicating the roads in a much more vibrant aspect, which does make it a little bit more easier to navigate from a user experience. The most noticeable of all changes due to 2.0 is the level and attribute point system and the Cyberware platform. Leveling now has been totally redesigned and redeveloped, making it more simple to choose specific upgrade paths, which assist in linking skills together in order for the user to get a better visual on what abilities relate to the others and how they impact and link to each other. This also impacts cyberware. Certain abilities in the leveling tree will enable more cyberware implants to be utilized with your character and can give you an edge in your cyberpunk experience. Armor is no longer a stat which is attributed by clothing. This is now primarily provided by cyberware. Additionally, cyberware is now equipped with a stat bonus, meaning that depending on how you build your character within the leveling system, you can take advantage of this with properly attuned cyberware. You can see the armor provided by the cyberware on the right hand side of the screen, and while on the left hand side you can see your cyberware capacity in relation to the cost of cyberware installed in you. The highlighted yellow bar on the left indicates the cyberware that you have installed, while the unlighted sections of the bar further than the highlighted yellow is your cyberware limit that you can physically handle. You cannot exceed this threshold unless you have the perk for it, but it does come down to a cost of health. If that's not enough for you to get re-engaged and excited about Cyberpunk, the Phantom Liberty surely is. Phantom Liberty takes place in a new unlocked area of Night City called Dogtown, which, if you're starting a new game, you can only get there after completing the Voodoo Boys missions in Pacifica to gain entry. Dogtown is in martial law and ruled by a left-behind NUSA colonel who has turned his military unit into an oppressive gang leaders of Dogtown, known as the Barghest Militia. You get a phone call from a government Black Ops level netrunner who offers a way to assist you with your predicament, but nothing is free in Night City. SF-1, or Space Force 1 with the President on board, is coming down, and it's going to land in Dogtown. Your assistance is required to help the President escape the dangers of Dogtown, and to help, you need to sneak into Dogtown, which is an experience to be had in itself, as traversing through this area genuinely feels unsafe. Landing in Dogtown and getting out into the open, you're greeted with a futuristic, dilapidated hellscape that is Dogtown. Now, I might be showing my age here, but consider this. If Night City is the equivalent to Mega City 1 from Judge Dredd, then Dogtown is like LA in Escape from LA. And just as you're taking it in, SF-1 nearly crashes right into you, meaning you had better move your ass to save the President. Through this, you're in for some wild fights and hair-raising chases and encounters, which will really make you hang off the edge of your seat. Going through this, you'll soon be introduced to Solomon Reed, played by the one and only Idris Elba. He is effectively a deep cover agent, the Black Ops kind of level stuff, and it's hard to tell where his intentions actually are, and it's worth paying attention to what he tells you versus what is actually happening, as although I have not yet finished the Phantom Liberty, I have already caught him giving me half of a story, so players beware. This expansion to the original story is certainly more story driven and action intensive, and really lets you submerge into a new government layer of Cyberpunk, which will give you the ability to learn more about your travelling companion Johnny Silverhand. The overall environment is a rubble-scaped war zone with minimal room to get around with a car, and so many different pathways to achieve an objective or sneak around. So with all this in mind, is Cyberpunk 2077 a thing of beauty? Without a shadow of a doubt it is, and I for one could not be more impressed with the dedication and commitment to this IP and CD Projekt Red, and making sure that Cyberpunk would never fade away. Lesser companies have let amazing games in concept with less issues than Cyberpunk fall into the digital graveyard, and one I am particularly disappointed with is Anthem. I thought it was such an awesome idea which had so much mystery, and I really felt like there was more to this story, only for it to be forgotten. So to anyone who complained about having to pay for Phantom Liberty, you're just wrong. CD Projekt Red have done the hard yards and made Cyberpunk the game they promised and more. As far as I'm concerned, they deserve my money, your money, and all the accolades and entitlements that they can get with their commitment and dedication. They have embodied the Cyberpunk story. They wanted to be large and make waves, ended up in a dumpster, and through sheer will and determination, CD Projekt Red have risen to the top of the afterlife.